What's good, y'all? Brandon B. Elise live streams. We back, baby. What's up? How's everybody doing out there? Happy Monday. Welcome to the new week. We back, man. Salute to everyone out there, man. And want to start this one off by saying thank you, everybody who's been subscribing. You feel me? We're almost at 300, so salute to all of you guys. We're at over 1250 on Facebook, so salute to all the family out there on Facebook. The Facebook family, we love you guys. Y'all be supporting heavy. So salute to everyone out there. As well, big thank you to everybody who pulls up, man, and shows love, who's engaging in the content. We just dropped a new video, so make sure you go check that one out. We're talking about Mona Leo and Black Americans. You already know what it is. We're going to stand on business every single time. But, of course, today we're going to be talking about some sports gambling again. So, you feel me? I feel like this is just a hot topic right now in sports, and it's been, kind of interesting to see kind of just how much has kind of come out over these last couple of days, and like just where we've been at in this last couple of weeks and months, man. This entire year, man, sports betting has just, I don't know if it's blown up or if maybe there's just a lot of scandals that have been happening, but it's insane to see kind of what's been happening lately, you feel me? And so, of course, here on Elite Live Streams, we're going to, make sure that we're keeping it real and we're bringing you guys the facts. And so I came across a pretty interesting video that I was watching by, I'm really into MMA, if anybody doesn't know that, you know what I'm saying? Kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, I did that for a few years, getting there, staying fit, staying ready. But sports betting is a big part of the UFC, right? And the UFC has a big component and attachment as well to sports betting. And so, of course, now with the explosion of sports betting, including, right, you got guys like, DraftKings, and you also got Prize Picks, a lot of really, really solid, they're part of our everyday blogosphere here on the internet. Everybody goes online and they're using sports betting, and every single ad is either for a sports bet book or it has something to do with sports betting, right? And so I think, kind of us, we've been talking about this. We like the fact that we were kind of ahead of the curve than other people, when it came to just kind of seeing what was going on with this whole sports betting and just, kind of the play that a lot of people are buying into and a lot of people are, kind of supporting, right? It's in our face every single day. We're here watching diligently, right? And people are constantly telling us, hey man, if you spend $10, you can win $150. And it's very enticing, right? Those little small bets over time, you feel me? It'll make it, seem like, oh, it's no big deal, right? But over time, you see people, they start getting addicted to this stuff. And so now, of course, we've been seeing more so, at least lately, the scandals that have been happening, right? Where people are getting exposed, right? They're getting exposed for those same, tactics that they were using back when the mafia was first beginning, right? People rigging up games, a lot of things that are getting, kind of manipulated because now there's money involved. There's people paying money, right? And so I think when I started to kind of understand that part and be thinking to myself, like, man, like I know for a fact that there's no way that if, there's going to be sports betting, that there wouldn't be some sort of attachment with the mafia, you know what I mean? And them being able to still have, a hand in this, right? And they have, clearly a huge hand still in betting because, like we just saw, them brothers just got indicted in the NBA, right? Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? They were, having to be kind of the fall guys for what all of us already knew what was going on, was the fact that the mafia is still highly connected to sports betting and sports gambling. It's a big part of it right now that we're starting to still see, every single day. And, every day there's a new report or there's some sort of new scandal talking about, who did what behind the scenes, and then now who's now come out and said that this happened or that happened. And it's very unfortunate because now we've really started to see the fruits of all that, right? How these mobsters have been able to infiltrate the game, how they've been able to manipulate the system, and all as well how they manipulate sports in general, right? So I came across this video that I watched by this creator. Let me make sure I credit him correctly. His name is Fight Society. So salute to him. I just wanted to do kind of a reaction to his video. It was just recently, I think, a fight night for the UFC. And he's going to be talking about kind of what he saw, what a lot of us saw as we were watching this fight, and kind of just what, you know, Dana White's reaction was to it. And we're going to kind of go down the rabbit hole of just, you know, sports gambling. We're also going to talk about Jake Paul versus Tank, man. It might be off. People are saying that the fight might not happen. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, man. It looks like, you know, maybe the Tank fight might be off. That's what they're saying. There's reports coming out from Ring Magazine saying that the fight might be off, and that, you know, Jake Paul is looking for new opponents, guys. This is just, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, what's going on with boxing? I don't know what's going on with Tank. I don't know what's going on with MMA and sports in general, sports betting. We're gonna get into it today, guys. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let's pull this one up real quick so we can start reacting to this one first. Let's see here. There we go. I got it queued up for you guys. So like I said, this is a video by a creator by the name of Fight Society. So salute to him.
They're going to go to fucking federal prison. Federal fucking prison.
The sports betting scandal that has swept across pro sports in recent weeks looks like it may have hit the UFC. And actually, this would be the second time that this would have hit the UFC in recent years, because here, a fight between Yadier Del Valle and Isaac Dulgarian, which ended in a first-round submission for Del Valle, was very sus.
All right, so look, they're already, you know, making it clear, right? Of course, I think at the time when, you know, we're at a time now where, like I said, we just broke the story about Chauncey Billups and what happened with Terry Rozier and what's been going on with Terry Rozier and, you know, of course, Malik Beasley. We talked about all those things here, right? So it's kind of crazy, I guess, now that this kind of starts happening in, you know, more sports. And of course, now that people are much more aware to see what to look out for, I think people are much more cognitive to you know, pay attention to what might be going on. And so I think this is a part of that now, you know what I'm saying? Where like everyone's paying attention to see, like, is this shit rigged up or not? Like, what the fuck?
Because here's the finish right there. And we'll get to the rest of it in a second, but this is the finish right here. You look here, he's trying to fight it. He's trying to fight it. That choke does not look, watch. The choke does not look very tight. It's not really on the neck. It's not all the way on the jaw to be a face crank. And he just, look, it doesn't even look that tight. And he taps.
Yeah, man. I mean, it doesn't look good, right? It looks kind of loose. And I think this is what a lot of people were paying attention to as well. Like you said, like the positioning now, people are much more technical when it comes to even the fan base. The fans now are much more, you know, aware of the sport. They know what to look for. They can see if, you know, maybe if a fighter's in trouble or not. And, you know, clearly, I'm not sure exactly. This guy looked like he was in the biggest of trouble. Even, you know, if you're watching the whole fight, like even in the entire fight, it didn't look like he was really ever in trouble, you know?
That by itself looks very, very, very suspicious. But when you consider the fact that this is what's going on, is Dulgarian went from a -240 to a -160 in under an hour before the fight. Since nothing confirmed here, honestly, but I am hearing that there's something going on with Dulgarian versus Del Valle. This was before.
All right, so look, it says that Dulgarian went from you know, a -240 to a -160 in under an hour. Then they see you posted that, you know, Bobby got finished in the first round. Talk about a rigged fight, you know. So I mean, this is kind of what's a lot of people are paying attention to, you know, the betting part, the influctuations of money, you know, going on a certain fighter right before a fight, right during a fight. You know, a lot of people are paying attention to that movement, right? And so this clearly especially being a UFC fight. You know, a lot of people are watching that.
For the fight. Not sure if concerns are about a fix or an injury. Friend who works for the Hard Rock says that they got 5 very large bets from different people on Del Valle round 1. Activity was flagged in their system, and apparently there is lots of buzz about it right now. I mean, this is really suspicious. The betting lines moved really fast. Here, Emil Sardarian from Stand 'Em Up says we may have just witnessed a rigged fight in the UFC again. Dulgarian was not able to get a single takedown. The line moved from -250 to -125 in 2 hours. Round 1 finished. Del Valle went from +850 to +400. That is some serious money getting dropped on a fight like this. And this
All right, so yeah, and that's what be happening a lot of times, you know, not only just in the UFC, but there, you know, people who, you know, of course, like, you know, I have my partner J Rock, and he plays, you know, of course, and there'll be times where certain players in a basketball game, they'll sit, you know, the last second of the quarter to, you feel me, for no reason. They're, you know, balling out. The game might be, you know, very close, and then all of a sudden they just stop playing. You know, so this is happening a lot, where a lot of people are paying attention to kind of, you know, how this can easily shift, like how the money can manipulate over the game time, like, and how certain players can, one of a sudden they're, you know, super, you know, they're playing like, you know, Michael Jordan, and then after that they just don't even want to play at all. It's insane.
is just another bullet point on the pro sports betting scandals that have been going around, especially since just last week FBI Director Kash Patel unveiled a major bust involving NBA players Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide sweeping criminal enterprise that.
And so you guys, we talked about this on our last episode, you know, just to, you know, make and reiterate the fact that, like I said, this was all a strategic play by Kash Patel, you know, of course, to use the propaganda that he has behind him, which is the FBI, and to make it seem as though, like, okay, yes, there are corruption, and of course they would use a black face to be the corruption, right? But in the end of the day, this is much bigger than just, you feel me, 2 basketball players and a few, you know, coaches, and one who was, you know, a coach staff guy. All right, this is actually about the entire Italian mob manipulating professional sports. Okay, like, this is bigger than just, you know, a few guys who, you know, we may or may not know who've played, you know, basketball at one point. This is bigger than that. This is infiltrating now to all sports. And like he said, like, this isn't the first time that this has happened in the UFC. Okay, there was also another instance where this happened as well, but this was the most recent one, given the timing, right? The timing of it all is so insane, right? Because, like, who knew this would be that timing, like, out of nowhere, right? Like, what the heck, like, out of nowhere.
envelops both the NBA
Let's skip on
and La
that a
Casa
little bit.
Nostra.
Let's go here.
Events for life. And more of the details, it says suspended MMA coach James Krause worked with offshore sports books as a middleman and offered new clients a line of credit and referral kickbacks, and took payments through Venmo or PayPal per ESPN. Now, that post is from a while ago from MMA Uncensored. Now, where things start to get tricky here.
All right, so this was James Krause, who was a UFC fighter, and he was speculated for, you know, being an inside information guy who would give, you know, certain people information. If certain fighters weren't going to make it to the fight, they would go on to put money on said fighter to win and or lose. And then boom, there's your money made, right? And then he would get a percentage of that. So I thought it was important to start there, just to kind of show just, you know, how that UFC setup is, because I think it's important to show that this isn't just happening in basketball. This isn't just happening in maybe football, but this is happening in also combat sports, right? Boxing has been rigged for years. We already know the corruption of boxing, but now we're starting to see as well MMA is being infiltrated by this as well. And so I wanted to kind of bring up this second video where they talked to a mobster about how mobsters were able to manipulate and being able to use, you know, certain athletes and getting them to do what they wanted to. So I think it's important that we bring those receipts too, because like I said, this is bigger than just the professional sports aspect. This is also about people who are literally in the wholly unemployed. Whoa. Are you okay, bro? Wholly unemployed. Hey, Patrick. All right. I don't know what's up with that, but okay. So we'll continue. So this is also about the mafia, right? And so we got to be careful about how the mafia sometimes can move, because the mafia is the biggest component of this entire organization when it comes to organized sports betting and also the rigging of professional sports, right? So I'm gonna bring up this video for you guys so you guys can watch this when he's talking about, literally talking to an Italian mobster about how they're able to get these athletes and also entertainers to be able to join their movement. So shout out to Taylor House Publishing. This is a great channel. Richard Taylor has a great channel over there, and he has a great information that he brings to the community. So salute to him. And this is a part of his video. So take a look.
And these videos are fair use for literary and commentary purposes only. Just watch.
Give you an example. Back in my day, NFL player, right? And this happened. I'm not going to mention the names. More than once, but this happened. Bookmaker working with me, he comes to me, hey, this player from the Jets, he's into me really heavy. He owes me 50 grand. Okay, what do you want to do? Should I bring him to you? How should I collect? 50 grand. Let him get into you for 250 grand, 300 grand.
All right. So look, he's already explaining that these were players who were already, using, like I said, and this is how they got Chauncey Billups. They were part of these illegal card games, or they're gambling at a casino. He runs up the tab. The tab is 50,000. Italian mobster says, hey man, I got this guy on the hook for 50,000. Should we go get it? Italian mobster says, no, let him run it up more, right? To get him deeper into the game, guys. This is how sinister the game is, right? This is how rigged up it is, right? Because a lot of these mobsters, they don't even gamble because they know this rigged up. But they're willing for you to run up your money and run up your riches and lose your riches. So then now you are in debt to them. And these guys don't care about your life. They'll do whatever to you to get their money, okay?
What are you doing? You're writing an entry on a piece of paper. It's not costing you a penny. He's a bad gambler. Let him get into you heavy and then bring him to me. Boom. Before you know it, he's into me $250,000, $300,000, right? I bring him to me. Sit down. Hey, how you doing? Good. You owe me a lot of money. Oh, you didn't know it was me? Sorry. Yeah, we don't always put that out there, but it's me.
All right. So look, brings him in for a meeting after he's ran up the tab, right? Over $250,000 ran up in a tab, gambling, of course, right? Gambling, right? So what does he do? He has to meet the guy now. And the guy's like, all right, now it's time to collect. Now it's time to put some pressure on him, right?
You owe me a lot of money. How are you going to pay? You got to pay. You got to figure it out. I'll tell you what. You know what? I love your team. I like the way you play. I'm going to give you a break. You owe me $250,000, right? You don't have to pay me right away. You pay me 2% a week in cash. When do you get paid? Every Monday you be here with the cash. Don't miss. Don't miss. And I'll let you slide for a while.
All right. So look, he puts it on him to make sure that he's showing up, to make sure that he is doing what he has to do. And then, of course, what happens? He's already stuck into him, right? For over 250,000. He says, bring it to him bi-weekly. And sometimes that can be a hard situation to keep up with, right?
I don't care. That's fine with me. He wants to do anything to get out of the room. He leaves. What do we find out? We're tracking a guy. He goes to another bookmaker somewhere else, right? And he's trying to make up the loss by betting somewhere else. But we all know what's going on. So pretty soon, he can't even pay me the 2%. We call him back in the room. Hey, let me explain something to you, my friend. You don't get away with a gambling debt. You got to pay me. You got a rich uncle. You got a godfather. Who would it? Go rob a bank. I don't care what you do, but you're going to pay me. That's it. Oh, Michael, let me tell you that. For some reason, I got a soft spot with you. I don't know why. So here's what we're going to do. You're a good running back, right? Yeah. All right. First 3 times next game, you put the ball on the ground. What? You heard what I said. Put the ball on the ground.
All right. So look, this is how he is saying that the mob manipulates, okay, how they manipulate athletes who are into it, whether it be through illegal gambling or at a casino, right? They ran up a tab, and that's what they said was happening with Terry Rozier. They said he had a gambling problem. And then, of course, that's kind of the situation that I guess arose. But this is how the mob is saying that these are how these situations go, right?
First 3 times. You're a wide receiver? Okay. Make sure that that ball doesn't go into your hands. That's it. You're a quarterback? First 3 times you get the ball, put it in the other team's hands. I'll worry about the rest. I'm getting an edge now. I know what to do. You're going to do this over a period of whatever amount of games I tell you, and that's how we're going to even up the score. And if you don't do it, you don't want to know what happens at that point. You know, I think you understand where I'm coming from. That's it. Very powerful. That's how you get these players to work with you. NBA player, the same thing. I don't care what you do. Foul yourself out of the game. Do whatever.
All right. And look, this happens all the time, guys. Like I said, guys will at one point be playing, going hard, full on, you know, all into it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're just not playing anymore, right? They just, you know, like, what the heck? Like, dude, you were just killing it right now. What the hell happened? And then boom, now you realize that, like, oh crap, like these dudes are, you know, they're getting paid to sit down. They're getting paid to not have to play. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people have kind of come to the realization is. It's just like all this is all happening all at the same time, right? And so it's insane, you know, just, you know, I like to read comment sections, right? And you look in the comment sections and people are all kind of feeling the same, right? Like, and I wanted to show that because I think it's important to, you know, the comment section is the world, you feel me? And like, it's very representative of like what we see and what people really want to say. And so sometimes, you know, it's very funny to look at the comments, you know what I mean? So let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this shit, because some of them are just real as it gets, man. And I really like that part. And so one of the top comments is like, it's wild. Everything is crumbling at the same time. Sports, entertainment, government, relationships, everything is fake. And I couldn't agree more. Like, we have reached a certain peak right now, especially just in kind of maybe the sports realm or the entertainment realm, where everything just seems fake again, right? It's not real. Like, you know, there's no way that all this could be real, especially when so many people are betting money and then you see so many people losing money, and it's in the most weird avant-garde ways. Like, a lot of people genuinely do not enjoy it, dude. And so you gotta sometimes laugh, you know what I mean? Like, when you see these kind of comments, man, it's just like another guy said, even DC was in disbelief about how the fight finished. He went off at the lack of basic hand fighting to choke. Yeah, it's getting bad. It's getting real bad. Somebody said it's in all of sports ever since sports betting was legalized. And this is just true, guys. Like, it's really getting bad out here. Like, I mean, what can people say? Like, the tide of online betting is absolute AIDS. It just preys on dumb people or addictive personalities. It's disgusting. This is facts, man. It's definitely, I think, you know, I don't want to say it's peaked because you just never know right now with like with like, you know, the output of what people think, or like even with society, you know, who knows if we've reached like the lowest of the low. But I will say this, the sports betting, sports gambling, whatever's going on with this right now is insanity. Like, it makes no sense, the levels that this thing is reaching right now. And it's been interesting to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you, because we're all here kind of just peeping the game and, you know, trying to all make sense of kind of what's happening and what's going on. But it's been very interesting to see kind of like where, you know, we're kind of at right now. And it's like, it says, you know, there's another comment right here that says, every fighter that gets signed to the UFC should get a yearly $100,000 check to start, plus an individual show and win fight purse that are currently in place. So the legal minimum will be $100K per year. Yeah, man. That's the point, is a lot of these fighters are getting paid to take dives because they just don't make enough in the UFC. A lot of these fighters are making, 25,000 a show, 25,000 to win, and that's just not enough. That's not going to cut it, for a lot of people who, have to pay fees for training, they have to pay fees for travel, their team. A lot of situations in this world are definitely not like a certain, I don't know, outlook that a lot of people want to think. It's not as easy as a lot of people think when it comes to fighting. Like, there's a lot more investment from the fighter than there is sometimes from the actual like UFC. And so that part plays a part, and I think, and to kind of, the next topic, you feel me, which we gonna talk about Jake Paul versus Tank Davis being canceled, man. It's not looking good for old Tank. I don't know what's been going on with Tank lately, but he's been getting into it with, a lot of his, female counterparts, and it might cost him this big fight, what y'all said, you know what I mean? I dropped a video talking about it on both channels, so y'all make sure y'all go check that out. It was my fight, preview for the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight. So I got those up on my channel. Also got, a lot of really good responses over on my Facebook account where I dropped that video. It went pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Got some great views, a lot of really great engagement over there. But the main consensus that I got from that was a lot of people were saying that, Tank was just getting his money, and why does it matter? Whatever the case may be, let him get his money. So, okay, cool. Then let Tank get his money. That's fine. But now, what are we starting to see? Now we're starting to see that, oh crap, yeah, it might not look too good, man, because Tank is, getting into some issues, and he's got, this girl that he's, kind of, I don't know, dating. And so now, Jake Paul's company is reviewing domestic violence allegations against Gervonta Davis. All right. This is from Ring Magazine, guys. This is a credible source. All right. So it says Jake Paul's promotional company hasn't determined whether he will move forward with his November 14th fight against Gervonta Davis, all right, because of his most recent domestic violence allegations made against Davis, all right? So today is November 3rd, guys. So, we got 11 days, man, before this fight, and it's not looking good for Gervonta right now. It says Most Valuable Promotions co-founded by Paul and Nakisa Badarian are reportedly exploring options to replace Davis based on the civil lawsuit an ex-girlfriend filed against him this week. Netflix is scheduled to stream their highly publicized cruiserweight exhibition, right, from Casilla Center in Miami. Most Valuable Promotions made a statement saying that immediately initiated investigation upon learning a civil lawsuit against Gervonta Davis in Miami-Dade County on October 30th, 2025. MVP announced in a statement that at this time we are gathering information and we are reviewing details to ensure any decisions we make is thoroughly vetted. We unequivocally condemn any form of violence and are committed to handling this matter with diligence and respect for all involved. We will make the determination on next steps once we have completed our review and consulted with an appropriate parties. Until then, we will not be commenting further. So, I mean, this is kind of where we're at, man. It doesn't look good. I mean, they're kind of, trying to make sure that they're staying, consistent and away from, I guess, what may potentially happen with Gervonta. But I must say, this is quite surprising to me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's very surprising to me because I thought this was going to be Tank's like golden situation. Like, I thought he was going to take this and like run with it and just like become like whatever he was going to become after this. Like, maybe he was going to make the, couple hundred million they were talking about that he will potentially make. I thought that was going to be the next thing, right? I thought that was going to start coming, but it's been very interesting to kind of see like that. I don't really know if it's going to pan out how Gervonta really thought, like it doesn't look like this is going to turn out in his favor, like, I mean, the money was definitely there. The money is there, but he can't keep himself out of trouble. You know, he just had another situation with his baby mother. I don't know if this is the same girl. Like, I can't keep up at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because there was, you know, plenty of situations that we saw on social media. I won't mention them, of course, but it just kind of speaks to a certain behavior that we've started to kind of see from Gervonta that I just personally don't like. And I think he really needs to work on it. I'm not sure exactly what is going on with him and maybe the relationships and the women that he's choosing, but this is now going to cost him one of the biggest fights of his career. And, you know, like I said, like I already made a video about this. I made a few videos about this. And so, you know, like I said, the response was just like, oh no, let Tank get his money. Like, don't, you know, don't be hating, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I'm not hating, but I just thought the fight didn't make sense. And of course, people are going to have their pushback, whatever. But now looking back and all this happening, I don't know what's going on, man. Like I said, if this was what Gervonta wanted, right? This was the fight that he was going to use to, you know, get him to the level that he wanted to be, right? Remember, everybody's talking about that, you know, he's going to make this money. He doesn't need to fight Devin. He doesn't need to fight Shakur because he's going to be making more money than all of them. And da 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 da. And now, look, now we have nothing to say for this. Right now, we have Tank out here just lost in the sauce, man. It's very, very evident that this could definitely turn into something, you know, and it's not looking good for the fight. Like I said, we have 11 days until this fight is supposed to be happening. I don't know if the PR, from a PR standpoint, right? From a PR standpoint, I don't know if it would look that good on Tank to be in this scenario, right? Where he's, you know, about to fight, make a big payday. And there's also someone who filed a civil case against him for DV. You know, it could definitely not be the best, you know, option that, you know, I think a lot of people would be surprised to see what happens from this, right? But you never know in these scenarios, right? So I just want to hop on here, man. Quick stream. You know, I'm going to definitely be on here a lot this week. We're going to be, you know, dropping a lot of video, dropping more content. I got a lot of stuff dropping this week. So make sure you guys look out for that. Definitely going to be live streaming this weekend. So make sure you guys are locked in. Make sure you're tuning in, guys. I appreciate everybody who's been showing up. All the new subscribers, thank you, welcome. And to everybody who's been riding from the beginning, salute to y'all. Thank you guys so much, man. My name's Brandon B. This is Elite Media, man. I'm out. Peace.